Welcome to another episode, Pound for Pound Boxing Report, episode 177. I'm your host, Michael. New to mics, everyone. I'm hearing some background noise. Um, Joining me this week, both from Truth and Facts, Daniel from the Inscriber, Jacob from Jab Hook Boxing, Scorsese. What's going on, fellas? What's going on?
So I'm good.
Happening.
Hello, good.
Glad
to be here.
Just letting you know, regular guest Gail, she will not be able to make it this evening due to a prior engagement, but you may have another guest drop by later on in the show, so looking forward to that. For those who are new to Pound for Pound Boxing Report, Pound for Pound Boxing Report is a live YouTube show, podcast, as well as a blog discussing all things boxing. The motto is, when boxing is good, we will talk about it. When it's bad, we will talk about it. Bottom line is, if it concerns the sweet science, it will get talked about. If you want to find out all information regarding Pound for Pound Boxing Report, one main place you want to go to, that's the blog page, p4pboxingreport.wordpress.com is the link. Check the right of the page. You can find links to our pages and channels on YouTube, Facebook, G+, Twitter, Tumblr, as well as links to where to listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, Mixcloud, and also Player FM over in the UK. Let's get the show started. Look, I could talk about some fights, recap some fights, but it features some fighters overseas that a lot of people may not have heard of, even geeky for boxing geeks taste. So I'm going to skip that and get right into some news here. Main news here. News dropped earlier this week regarding a possible rematch between Anthony Joshua and Wladimir Klitschko. For those who are in the know, fought this past April 29th in London. Arguably the fight of the year so far in 2017. The debt stopped Klitschko in round 11. Joshua became a superstar afterwards. Klitschko gained some even more notoriety in that fight. Looks like a rematch is going to be happening, and I'll go to you on this one first, Bo. Not only looks like the rematch is going to happen, but it looks like we may see the rematch here in the States. Joshua was in Las Vegas last week, as a matter of fact. Word is, according to Eddie Hearn or some other sources, that the fight may happen at T-Mobile in Vegas in November the 11th is the date. Your reaction to the fact that Joshua and Klitschko look to be fighting again, but that the rematch will happen here in the States in Vegas?
Mike, I have to be honest with you, man. I am extremely skeptical because until I hear from Wladimir Klitschko, because everything is probably Eddie Hearns is gearing things up just in case Wladimir says yes, he wants to do the rematch. There's nothing concrete just yet, so I'm extremely skeptical because at any given time, Wladimir could be like, "Nah, I changed my mind." So I haven't heard nobody say, "Hey, I spoke to Wladimir, and there's a 50% chance." That, like, if Eddie Hearns would say, "Listen, I spoke to Wladimir, and there's a 50% chance he's going to do it." Okay, that might give me a little cause. All right, well, cool. But it just seems like to me, Eddie Hearns is kind of, jumping the gun a little bit, hoping that it happens and putting things, he's putting things in place before we actually have a definitive answer. So, but if it does happen and it's here in the U.S., that's great. Like, that's great, and it's great. And from what I also hear, I think they're going to make a pay-per-view for us over here in the U.S., $60-$70. So all it is like we said, they're trying to make Joshua a crossover appeal star. If they can get that, he comes over here in the U.S., he fights now. The UK people are going to follow him over here. I mean, 15,000 followed Ricky Hatton when he last fought over here. So they'll definitely come over here and fight. Vegas would be the place you want to have it. And I think Joshua's hanging out over at Mayweather's gym. So if it happens in the U.S., I definitely think it's good. I think it's great. It also adds more fuel to the fire for a possible him and Deontay Wilder showdown, and they want to make sure that people know where they are because if that fight does happen, if it does happen, you want that to happen right here in the U.S. Big fight like that. So it's a good idea. I'm just skeptical because I haven't heard nobody tell me the percentage of Klitschko wanting to fight again. Like, we've heard nothing from Klitschko's side. So I'm extremely skeptical. And Eddie Hearns has done this to us 100 times. I mean, he's done this to us before, and there's a different path we take. So until I hear something from Klitschko or somebody say they spoke to someone in Klitschko's camp, I'm gonna remain skeptical. But if it does happen and it happens here in the U.S., man, I mean, you can't be mad at that. That's a fight that now we can go see, and having it in Vegas is the best place you would want to have it, because that's where you're going to make the most amount of money, given how the first fight was. The second fight makes a tremendous amount of money because of the excitement and everything that it brings.
I'll go to you, Jacob, and you can follow up. Scorsese, do you share both skepticism? Are you even interested in the rematch? Are you interested in Joshua finally coming to the United States to fight? Your thoughts?
I definitely am interested in him coming to the States to fight. I share some of both skepticism in the sense that even when the first fight was made, Klitschko's, he's up there in age, and I know he's come off of multiple injuries, so there's no guarantee that he's going to even be able to be healthy for this fight or not pull out. And if I'm Joshua's team, I got to strike while the iron's hot, get back in the ring and fight again. It'll be a great fight to see if it does come to the West Coast, and potentially I think I heard Vegas, maybe even LA. But again, like most things, until it's signed and sometimes until they actually get in the ring, it's almost hard to believe some of these things.
Scorsese. I'll meet you, Mike Scorsese.
Yeah, man. To be honest, man, I was just typing. I'm a cheapskate, and they can keep that over there in the UK and let them pay for it for all I care. I mean, we got burnt out on pay-per-view over here. We was getting burnt, man. We was getting the hellacious treatment from Top Rank, Golden Boy. Then Floyd came on his own, and that's the UK star. I want them to pay for him. I want to watch free during the day if I can. And if I do, you do come over here, I don't want to see no damn Nathan Cleverly on no undercard. Keep in mind, I already seen this bout once. I think I know how it goes this time. Joshua just adjust and get him out of there and say, I'm not going to overexert myself to the point that you can crack my chin while I'm tired. I don't think that's going to happen this time. So the fight, to me, already gets a little bit more boring because I know Joshua is a little more advanced than the first fight. A little smarter, knows his opponent now. Klitschko likely got that, damn, that's a monster thing going on. That's why he ain't took the fight already yet. And like I said, that undercard, you can't be just selling me no damn Bellew. Yeah, you got to get it in for me if you're gonna do that. I don't want to pay for no rematch. I want them to keep that shit over there, to be honest with you. Now that I think about it, I would love them to keep that on over there.
I'll go to you. I'll go to you, Daniel. I hear what Scorsese's saying. I hear what both saying, and I agree with them to a certain degree. But also, part of this is from Hearn's perspective, is to trying to introduce Anthony Joshua to a U.S. audience, bring him over here in hopes of get him United States appeal. Maybe kind of set up a bout with Wilder. Even though I agree with Scorsese, I think Joshua will find a way to get him out earlier in a rematch. Your thoughts on all this?
It's true that the Klitschko side has not shown their hand yet. But the fact that Eddie Hearn is progressing with this is telling me that in the discussions, it's sounding like they're moving in the direction towards the rematch. Now, the pay-per-view side, that's the one thing I have a question on, because remember the deal that they had to strike between HBO and Showtime to put in this fight, which was the first fight, Showtime shows it first, and then HBO shows the tape delay. This time around, HBO shows it live, and Showtime does the tape delay. Now, does it mean that that means that the tape delay from Showtime, is it going to be Showtime pay-per-view? That's one question I have, but I understand the skepticism, but the plan has always been, I think, for Eddie Hearn for a while, to have Joshua fight in the U.S. at least once a year. Grow his appeal. The problem with it, though, I've always had a little bit of problem, is the fact that you never hear much, like I said, outside of Vegas now, is a good old immigration laws. And Joshua's little conviction that he has, technically that forbids him from coming. But we know with the current administration, all you have to do is pay enough money and you can pretty much do anything.
That's what I'm going to say. If folks can deal with the nonsense of what's going on right now in the White House, they'll find a way to let Joshua fight in the States. So I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, that part is into it. But what's interesting going to be is watching this. If it goes down, and if it goes in Vegas, which obviously, if it's in Vegas and it's this type of fight, you have to put it in T-Mobile. You can't do MGM Grand. You can't do Mandalay Bay. It has to be T-Mobile. And you have so many other fights. Sorry, and you have so many other fights coming in closer around the date that they want to put it in. Because remember, no, I think the MGM Grand has a circus, and Canelo Triple G is going to be in T-Mobile. There's going to be so many fights that are going to come down to Vegas that it's going to be very busy, and it's the perfect actually environment for Joshua to be introduced to the American market, because now you're going to be introduced into how American gambling affects boxing decisions. We know how UK gambling affects boxing decisions. And gambling is legal in the UK. Here we know outside of a couple of cities, and unless you're an Indian reservation, it's illegal. So Joshua Seaman's going to learn really, really quickly how the American system is going to work. And that's probably going to be the decision whether or not they're going to say, okay, is worth the exposure coming here, or they say, okay, there's the way the ends are coming out is too funny, I'd rather just stay in the UK.
Before we move on, I'm just going to ask a question just for everybody, and anybody wants to chime in, please do. Let's just say this happens. Joshua indeed fights Klitschko. There is a rematch. It happens here in the States, and Joshua not just wins, but wins emphatically and impressively, even more so in the last bout. What is the potential of Anthony Joshua here in the U.S.? Will he be bigger than Lennox Lewis, Hatton, or others who fought here or Hamed, who fought here on a pretty regular basis? In the ring, out of the ring, should all this pop off, the potential for AJ?
If it wasn't for, like I was saying, us being burnt out on the pay-per-view over here and feeling like, streams are popping, if it wasn't for that, I would definitely feel like people would be looking at him like, he's about to beat the hell out of Wilder, and look at that, look at his body, look at the youth, look at this dude. Yes, I think he'd be bigger than every name you just mentioned, probably twice as big. But where we at right now, free streams, we've been getting got. Pacquiao even over here saying, hey, I can't sell pay-per-views no more. It ain't even worth it. I just got to go fight around the world and make some money. I don't know, man. Not like that. Not like that. We beating the pay-per-view stuff now.
I have a different view of it. Listen, the one thing about American fans are very tribalism. And they're very I don't know. I don't know. I have to say I think it'll be hard. I think it'll be hard for him only because of how American fans are. We might enjoy the fight, but he's not one of ours. He's not one of our ponies. So it'll be a little, in my opinion, I don't know, for other reasons that I'm not going to say also, because I don't want to put that out on the show, but I just
I
don't
think I know
think
where you go.
he'll.
I think I know where you're going,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna
yeah,
leave it alone.
yeah. Right. I just don't think he'll be. I mean, I think we'll appreciate the fact he gave us a big fight, but I don't think he'll be as big as some of those guys you name. I just don't know.
There's a
Dan-
bad thing about it. There's an issue about it. Number one, it could be travelers. One of the reasons why, if you would have had Wilder Fury would have gotten very popular here, because you would have made one guy be anti-American in a way. Joshua, kind of the way he maneuvers when it comes to public relations, acts like a politician. And that normally means you go and do things to not get anybody mad. Boxing's one of those sports where you can't really do that and have long-term success in the U.S. In other markets, yeah, it's playing well in the UK, but here, where like I said, look what we're going to get in August. We're going to get a damn circus, and people are actually going to pay money to see that circus. That's what I think Joshua has to develop. He has to develop that personality where it doesn't sound robotic in a way. It doesn't sound like you are literally memorize a press release or you memorize talking points and you're just spitting them out. It has to come natural in a way. He does have the potential. He also does need to defend some American sports figures besides Floyd. Like he has to link up with LeBron at some point. But he has the potential, but he kind of acts too much like a politician for it to be long term.
Jacob.
I actually think that the way that the American fans are, I think they have a kind of a heavy obsession with the heavyweight division when it comes to boxing. So I think that gives him kind of a check mark in the positive side. I think he's a big athletic guy, which I think a lot of people like. And so another check mark there. He goes for the knockouts, and he's kind of an exciting fighter. Or he puts on exciting fights. I know that it's been versus lesser competition, except besides like Klitschko. So again, another check. So I think he has good potential to do good things here, and he's a nice looking guy. He's got good personality, I think. I mean, I don't think there's any reason, if he's marketed correctly and he has the right opponents, that he couldn't be a superstar here.
He already won the majority over once in one country. I think he'd do it again. He's not doing anything to say, oh, he's loud, he's this, that. No, he ain't doing it. He's doing it a different route. He's just in the ring, basically, pretty calm, cool, and collected. And he's going to have that opponent that's going to be easy to hate. It's easy to hate Deontay Wilder. Like it or not, it's easy to say, man, shut your ass up.
Until you point out to Americans, oh, Deontay's American, this guy's a Brit.
I'm with. Look, different, such a polarizing dynamic here in the States. Well, it's not just nationalism, and I say naturalism as opposed to patriotism, because patriotism allows you to be a true patriot, allows you to be just as critical as you are supportive, and not be critical, and people not jump down your throat for that. It's called being honest, being truthful, good and bad. But it's not just nationalism. It's a certain type of nationalism, particularly that we saw again. That's echoing. Let's just say that's echoing from the White House, and that you saw sprout from that dude's election. You can say it's easy to hate Wilder all you want, but in spite how polarizing Wilder is to some, they will root for him just because he's American, and they will depict Joshua wrongly just because he's not from America. You know what I mean?
Well,
In short, people will not use their brain in a potential Wilder fight, Joshua fight, and think analytically, think with some sense. Among some,
but they don't use their brain now, Mike. They don't use their. See, when I hear people say, and this is not towards Scorsese, I'm just saying, speaking in general, because we've been hearing it for a while. When I hear people say it's easy to hate Wilder, I ask these questions. Okay, I mean, is he a dude that's running up in the club taunting his guns around? Is he in burger joints having fights? I mean, because if you listen to his story, he has a great story. He didn't start boxing to 19, won a bronze medal. He's a father to his child. He took up boxing because of his daughter. He loves coming from Alabama. He's a hometown country boy. So it's like when people say it's easy to hate him, I'm like, what is he doing for you to hate him other than if you're listening to what people who don't like him are saying? So I mean, it's easy to hate. Like I can sit here and I can hate Anthony Joshua for some of the things that we know he hasn't been perfect in his life. So, I mean, it's easy to hate anyone. That's why it's easy to hate anyone if you look. It's hard to look at the goodness in what somebody does and say, hey, regardless of this is what he does. So, I mean, and that's why I say, I mean, I'm not gonna get into it, but like I said, I got my reasons why. But it is what it is. That's all I'm gonna say, man.
You was gonna respond, Scorsese?
I was saying, like if you look on the Twitter, I never see parody Joshua accounts because he's handled his business inside the ring with no excuse, quickly, how people like it. You look at the parody Wilder accounts, people making accounts of him hip rolling in the ring and shit. He's 6'7" hip rolling, fighting a punching bag. People are gonna find a way to say, yo, 40 fights, and the media is already saying these things, and they're 100% correct if they want to say that it's actually true. He had ample time to step up, and every other time it's been something. My hand hurt. Well, I was telling people, look, your hand, no more excuses. As soon as it heals, you got to come back. You got to get somebody. Came back, he messed it up again. Like if you got to just learn how to adjust to that, or people they're going to just clip you and say, you know what, time's up. And I believe that Joshua, what they can do for him is get him in an Ortiz type fight in the States where he just shows he's great. He's a big smile. He's not bragging. He's in the ring. And you get Skip Bayless to liking the kid. And you know what? He's a good kid. And you know what? Bam. That's it right there.
And to that, I say, this is why we American fans are the most hypocritical. They are the most tribal. They are the most national, and they are the most biased fans there is. We will hate our own instead of praising him, and like others that's not from here when they have the same story we do. So because the Skip Baylesses. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. No. Wait a minute. The same reason you have a lot of fighters with those same reasons, and that's what I'm saying. Like we have a lot of fighters with those same reasons. They don't get that. There's reasons why Deontay Wilder get that, and ain't got shit to do with boxing, in my opinion.
Yeah, my thing is the whole in your theory, Scorsese, is that you're talking about just among folks who cover the sport on a regular basis. The problem is a fight that big, of that importance, that's going to go outside of that audience. It's going to go to casuals.
To the Skip Bayless audience.
Yeah, and pretty much, I can tell you right now, he's going to look at someone like Joshua and think, yeah, he's a good fighter.
No.
He's going to look at him as suspect. He's going to look at him as kind of a fake.
He's going to say, I believe he's going to say, with 19, how many fights Joshua had? This many fights. This man got in here with a Wladimir Klitschko, and then he's going to say he could have fought. They're going to teach him a little about Tyson Fury. They're going to say, but Tyson Fury has some problems. That's not Joshua's fault. And he's going to say this man did what he was supposed to do.
Against a guy that already lost. Against a guy that already had lost to Tyson Fury, though.
But the problem is, Scorsese, how do we know he's even he knows about that fight with Klitschko? That he even knows the Tyson Fury?
That's what the people in the back are going to tell him, and he's going to sit down, and that's how it's going to go.
The people in the back told him. The people in the back told him
same way he hate Floyd Mayweather. He fights a totally different style. He's a very exciting fighter. He's not bragging. The man is one of the worst
The
interviews
people,
in the sport simply because he's a
the
chalkboard
people,
in interviews. You know?
the people in the back also told Skip Bayless, Josecito Carras beat Andre Berto, but you know what they didn't tell him? Berto fought 5 rounds with one arm, so you can't
Yeah,
depend on that either.
yeah,
No,
but that's for the casual.
That's
That's
what I'm
for the
saying.
casual
So,
audience.
right,
well,
exactly, and that's my point. And go ahead.
And why are we going to him anyway when this fool still believes that Pacquiao beat Mayweather?
Hey, I
well,
agree. If I could pull him off the networks, I would myself. But I'm just telling you who's there, and I believe Stephen A. Smith is going to be on the same train. Hell, and Max Kellerman definitely going to be on the train that this is a bad man, that he's a young guy. That man, nobody here is going to find a reason to hate Anthony Joshua until he gives them one. Deontay
it's
Wilder, I
not.
don't know. I
You're
don't
you're,
see
you're
y'all
talking,
reason outside
Scorsese.
of
You're
But
talking
that's
about
where
the
you're
media
wrong at
that knows him
because
already. You're talking about
I'm
the
about to
audience.
say exactly.
You're talking about the
Because
audience
that's
knows
where
him
you're wrong
already.
at. Because I talked to a lot of UK people, and the one thing they hold over Joshua is 2 things. Number one, you didn't fight Fury. Number 2, you did beat Klitschko after he had already had a loss.
hey,
And a
those
lot of
are fair.
UKs hold that over his head. So
Those are Fury fanatics, and that's ridiculous. Fury's the worst champion that has ever been in the sport. Just about, he is definitely an argument, and that's who I was talking about in my argument when before we came on here. Something that Golden Boy is doing out with him that just burns me the hell up. But I'm sure we'll get to him in a minute. Fury did this to himself. If he wanted to fight Joshua, he knew better than to separate those lines the way he did and put them in his nose. Joshua's going to be the clean cut guy. Boxing's going to forget Tyson Fury, and it should.
Well, no. Well, here's the thing, though. People like Tyson Fury, like people with Deontay Wilder's personality, those are the people that tend to, like it or not, succeed in the sport. That's what makes boxing one of the exceptions to the rule when it comes to public relations compared to other sports. If it's other sports, somebody in Joshua's demeanor, if you put someone like that in the NFL or the NBA, MLB, yeah, they're going to succeed because that's what it's expected of them. Boxing, it's not, because you're promoting yourself. That's the issue that's probably going to come up. That's mainly going to come up with when it comes to a Wilder Joshua fight. Besides the fact that people are going, Wilder's American, Joshua's not. Joshua comes off in a way as a politician in a way. Like I said, in the main reason, and you mentioned he got over a country. That's his country. Here's a little bit different. And like Bo mentioned, there's people they're holding things up over people in the UK that, like or not, are valid. Like people want to remember you're big on lineal championships. Remember that. You're big on lineal championships, and until
he retired 3 times. He retired 3 times. He gave it up 3 times,
and they still haven't taken it away from him. They're going to take it away from him in about 3 months, but because the rule is you have to defend it within. We have to defend it.
No, you're talking about the ring title. You're talking about the ring title.
No, the lineal too, because they kind of count the same way for some reason. Now.
Anything that happened with Tyson Fury, if it's held against Anthony Joshua, I'm not gonna say what I was about to say. Lord, you boy, hell no, I ain't finna say that. Tyson Fury can sit his big ass the fuck down. That's simple as that. Anthony Joshua didn't sell him no dope. Anthony Joshua didn't do no dope with him. You want to talk about being mentally ill? It's fighters that's been to prison that seen hell of a life. Fighters that seen fighters die, seen their friends die, and then they got in the sport. They could be mentally ill as well. Ain't nothing Joshua done to Fury his fault, and as simple as that. The man brought it on himself, and damn it, that's it. That's it. He can kick fucking rocks. Anthony Joshua has a stake to being the best heavyweight in the world, and they try and take it away from him in some instances, but it ain't gonna work. When you tell people 90,000 people came to view this man, 90,000, and he put on a show, they're gonna say, what heavyweights are doing that over here? And they're gonna attract to him. Simple.
In theory, like I said, you're right. But
we also have to mention
American boxing fans and just sports fans in general, we can be some cynical bastards. We really can.
Yeah,
you mentioned. Let's move on right quick. You mentioned Fury. We've been talking about Fury. Well, he left a message on Instagram. I'll read it here verbatim, word for word. He said, "Been very blessed in my life and career. to achieve the utmost in boxing. It was an epic journey along the way. Thanks to all the fans that supported and believed in me and along the way. Hope you enjoyed as much as I did. The end. Now, to a lot of folks who read that, it seems like he was signaling retirement. He hasn't made anything official. Let's look at it. Let's look here. Not the first time we've heard Tyson Fury talk this way. Even when he was active, even in the lead up to his win over Klitschko back in 2015, on the come up, he's talked about retirement before. He's talked about it a lot since that win, which he hasn't fought for a multitude of reasons, which we all know. The question is this serious? Is Tyson Fury just talking again, or is just another sign of kind of the mental, psychological, the issues that Tyson Fury is still dealing with? And anybody who wants to jump in, please do.
Done being his doctor. Done being his damn doctor. First and foremost, wasn't never his drug dealer, so I feel no shame. Wasn't the person that done the drugs with him, feel no shame there. Tyson Fury should have been unfollowed by every boxing fan months ago. I just tweeted that, and it's the truth. He's the worst champion there ever was, period. And there's other champions that we treat way worse. You look at the Ring magazine. I'm not even going to name the fighter that they stripped because I don't want to go down that route. But that guy has beat 6 top 10 opponents according to the transitional boxing rankings. What is it? Transnational Boxing Board rankings. I can't remember. He's beat 6 top 10 opponents. Fury, he just got overweight, done some drugs, tested positive. He broke 4 of the Ring magazine's rules. And Golden Boy won't step in and do a damn thing about it because it ain't nobody they got no grudge with over there. With they little sensitive asses. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of Ring TV. I'm sick of Golden Boy. I'm sick of Tyson Fury. I kind of want Canelo get his face busted in now that I'm thinking about it because I'm tired of his pussy ass shit in the sport. This man broke 4 rules. Hasn't had a fight scheduled, hadn't done anything, tested positive for PEDs, has retired 3 times. Those are 4 rules he broke. He still got a damn ring title around his waist. His picture's still on the fucking website, and Joshua can't get a damn ring title because his ass, when they didn't strip him last year when they should have. He should have been fighting Klitschko for number 2, and now they dropped Klitschko to number 3 where they can't fight for the title, and they put Deontay Wilder, nobody fighting ass in number 2. But then we praise them when they do something just because of one guy that they last stripped broke 1 rule. He broke 1 rule off the bids of a guy, the second best guy in the division, ducking a purse bid. Fury has done this all to himself and is still a fucking champion. Oh, boy.
Say it with your chest, bro. Say it with your chest.
This shit burns me up to the point I want to do harm to fucking Tyson Fury. I am pissed off about this whack-ass, weak-ass sport. It make me want to quit watching it, sit his ass down, take his fucking Twitter, and hit unfollow on the damn thing and move past him. He shouldn't be talked about when they mention Joshua. The motherfucker didn't want none. If he did, he would have done the right goddamn thing and got some.
Oh, my.
Well,
anybody want to follow that up?
I agree with Scorsese here completely. You know what? This is the fight game, and if you can't get your fucking life straight and you don't want to go get help and you have all these people around you, you know, he shouldn't be tweeting. He shouldn't be doing Instagram. He shouldn't be doing anything except trying to fucking fix his life. If he don't want to do that, then he's not serious about the sport. So then leave the sport, give it to the people that want to do it, and, you know, let's move on. I've never been a big Fury fan. I'm not a big fan of his style, so I mean, I'm not gonna miss him. And you know, he's been basically holding this stuff hostage, and why he's, you know, doing all this other shit. So I mean, I'm with Scorsese on this one.
In the end, Fury is the dog that caught the car. That's basically what he is. He's the dog that caught the car. He beat Wladimir Klitschko in a fight where not a lot of people really picked him to win. And he just couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle not just the success, the expectation of the success that came with it. And he fell in love with the cocoa as the process. Now, I do agree with Scorsese in the way, that Me Magazine's a bit hypocritical when it comes to that aspect of it, but then it's probably why they don't want to do it. It's like, because they said, okay, you retired and unretired, retired and unretired. This time, we don't know what's happening. We don't know if it's mainly because the board, the UK board, may be looking to suspend him more because they haven't had a hearing, suppose. But let's look at the man's actions since the Klitschko fight. Like we said, he fell in love with the Coco. He went in rehab. And then when he announces his comeback, every single time you see him, he just gets fatter. So you can tell he's not taking it really seriously.
Wasn't he having those problems, though, before the Klitschko fight?
Yeah, let's face it now. Those issues and I would like to call signs of mental instability were there long before. The question is, not the question, but the issue is, it got overlooked as Fury just talking the talk, just trying to stir the pot. And I was like, no, there's some psychological issues going on with this dude.
Yeah, that's the whole main issue of it. And the Klitschko victory tipped it over because he was fine talking shit so long as he didn't have a responsibility of being a champion to do it. Once he got those titles, he realized, oh, wait a minute, I got a responsibility. And even after, like I said, when he did January, when he stepped into the ring and challenged Deontay Wilder, when he saw Deontay Wilder not back down, then it broke him down, unfortunately. And to me, that's the guy, the dog that caught the car. And for people that don't know, I know it's a saying where basically said is a dog catches is you get something and you don't know what to do with it afterwards. That's pretty much what Tyson Fury was. We don't know if this announcement is going to be long-term, short-term. It all really depends because if he sees Anthony Joshua make huge amounts of money here in the U.S., he's going to unretire again because he wants a piece of that pie. He just doesn't want the challenge to get it. That's about part of it.
You can't get a piece of that pie if you're not doing what you need to do. If you don't make weight, if you're still on drugs, you still got mental issues. It doesn't matter what you want.
Oh no, that I can agree.
You're not going to be able to get it. Who's gonna sign him up? An unstable individual like him. You think anybody's going to sign him to a fight? I don't think so.
Well, he's not going to fight anywhere else but the UK. We have to face facts. He's not going to fight anywhere else in the UK, and he does have a natural audience in the UK, not just based on his fighting style, but be blunt on his politics.
And I also want to point out too that, I mean, I know he got the win versus Klitschko, but that was one of the worst fucking fights I've ever seen in my life. He didn't beat him or he didn't take the title. It was a very sluggish, slow by both fighters. So, I mean, again, it goes back to this whole thing. I've never really been impressed with Fury. He got an opportunity, and I give him props for taking it. But, all this other stuff, this is boxing. In my opinion, like Scorsese was saying, forget this guy. Let's move on. There's other fights that can happen that are actually possible versus this kind of mindfuck that this guy's doing.
The doors are always open. The doors are always open, but you got to pull the damn knob yourself. That's simple as that.
I see Gus has joined us. Open up your mic, Gus. We're talking Tyson Fury. Responded to his Instagram message in which a lot of people read it and saying that maybe he's hinting at retirement once again. Your reaction to Fury? For me, I just think it's another sign that he needs to get himself in order outside the ring, his life in order outside the ring. Your thoughts, Gus?
I want to say welcome back, brother Gus.
Welcome back.
Likewise.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. But Mike, I don't really, or I'm no longer really interested in the sort of speculation side of the sport. With Tyson, as you know, Mike, I've been one of his biggest proponents ever since he turned professional. I've instigated investigations independently with the British Boxing Board of Control and with UK anti-doping, questioning their rules, their integrity, how they disseminate information, using Tyson's case as a reference point, but also to look at the whole transparency of the matter. But Tyson's case, Mike, you know, I'm not going to sit here and dispute individuals who have mental health, you know, problems. You know, Scorsese is well versed on that matter, but I don't really have sympathy for individuals who capitulate from the brink of being on top of the world, you know, fulfilling their destinies, you know, have exorbitant wealth, have family, have all of their faculties, and they suddenly turn to, you know, abusing their bodies, cannot handle the success, whatever else, you know, when they've got a very stable network behind them. You know, to me, that's not right. You know, it's something is clearly not there. You know, he's been out of the sport now for a considerable period. In following a little bit of him tentatively, you know, he seems to be Billy Joe Saunders' nutritionist now. You know, these guys are going through Burger King drive-thrus. I don't know, Mike. I really cannot take him seriously anymore. You know, he's sacrificed the prime years of his career. Whether he's able to, you know, get back to the sort of shape that he needs to be in, you know, still have that. For me, the question is going to be hunger and desire. I think it's been exhausted out of his system. This is an era of heavyweights who are, you know, we've got some real prime athletes now. If he comes back and he's not even in, you know, 60-70% of the shape, have that sort of mental drive, he could end up getting hurt very badly, Mike. And, you know, I wouldn't, whilst the age is still on his side, I would be highly skeptical about seeing him back in the ring.
Speaking of an age, a new age of big athletic heavyweights, we were talking earlier about the possibility of Joshua Klitschko rematch not only happening, but happening here in the United States. We talked about that. And we also talked about the potential of Joshua in terms of popularity here in the U.S. Scorsese seems to think that he could be very popular in the U.S. I'm somewhat, on the surface, it sounds plausible, but I'm a bit skeptical because of, for me, the social climate and the ultra nationalism that has really sprouted with the election of a certain dude in the White House and how that may carry over in the sports arena. From your perspective, Gus, in the UK, thoughts not only about this rematch, proposed rematch, will it happen, and the potential of Anthony Joshua in terms of popularity here in the States?
The rematch now, when Vladimir suffered the defeat after their first fight, he was very quick to release whatever a public video stipulating that he would pursue the rematch. You know, sorry, that was after the Tyson Fury fight. So he was decisive straight away. In this particular situation, I'm concerned that he's been deliberating. Those in his camp have talked about one day he's keen on having the rematch, next day he's not. You know, that sort of indecision cannot be wise. And I certainly wouldn't recommend a rematch for him. I think in the second fight, he'll be beaten far more convincingly and quicker. I think Anthony realized that when he pressed the attack, Vladimir did capitulate quite easily when Anthony did collapse the pocket and sort of, you know, implement a sustained attack. You know, Vladimir, you know, didn't really show that much resistance. He went down quite easily. Okay, he got up, but I think Anthony in the second fight, if that happened, would dispose of him a lot more quickly. So I wouldn't recommend it. As to whether there is a demand for it over here, yes, there is. You know, they're talking about either the Millennium Stadium in Wales, but I think Wladimir is not keen to fight there. He's keen. Should he exercise it, to have it in the United States? Now, Anthony wouldn't mind that. He spoke in the past about fighting in Vegas or Madison Square Garden. No, he doesn't need to do it from a financial standpoint, but in terms of developing his brand, transcending his name, it's a good option. And also, he likes to compare himself to other great fighters in the past, those who have fought in all jurisdictions. So, he's keen to try and cement his legacy in his own right in doing that. I don't think it's a viable option for him. I would pursue the other champions. I'm very surprised as to why the champion actually allowed a rematch clause to be invoked in the contract. It's very unusual. I'm very surprised. He agreed to do it. I guess it's got something to do with the WBA belt, which they added to the equation, which was a ridiculous thing to do. I don't think Wladimir had any jurisdiction in fighting for that. But he's had a long relationship with that sanctioning body, so I guess him and K2 have certainly got some powers to be to actually bring them onto their side. But I don't know, Mike. I'm not really interested in the rematch. I think it would be good for Joshua to fight in the US, but it would be better for me, a Wilder or Luis Ortiz in the States. That even a Joseph Parker in Vegas, that to me just appeals far more.
Indeed. Let me get Bo into this discussion. Going back to the Tyson Fury Instagram post. Your reaction to that, Bo?
Mike, I'm over here being quiet for a reason. Let me tell you something, Mike. I have followed this sport a long, long, long time, man. And I'm gonna tell you one thing I've learned. Around about, I'm gonna say early 90s or mid 90s, I've learned that boxing fans are the most fucked up individuals that they are. They're the most cynical, they're the most biased and hate a dude. And then you will defend the motherfucker doing the same goddamn thing that dude is hating. You can talk resumes about a guy, and when you compare that resume to somebody they like, they will defend that shit to the very end. So there's a lot of good about boxing. There's a lot of bad. I've taken way more bad about this sport than I ever have good. But at the end of the day, we can't get upset and angry at a guy like Tyson Fury, when the reality is, the reason why he is still who he is still being looked at, he is still being mentioned, is because fans on social media, when you can reach out and connect to them, they feel a partnership with these guys because he has befriended them or he has put a comment on them or whatever the case is. See, social media has allowed everybody with a voice, whether they know what they're talking about or they don't know a fucking thing, feel like they have a voice. And through social media, you have a lot of these fighters doing things. So it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's the time we live in. Because I remember a time, Mike, when who gave a fuck about ratings? Who gave a fuck about a purse? Who gave a fuck about who dropped who ducked who? Did we watch a good fight? Yeah, okay, cool. That's what the boxing I remember. I remember motherfuckers sitting out in the rain to watch Alexis Aguayo. Okay, I remember going down to UFC, begging my mom for fucking bus fare to go to UFC and watch just the state dudes fight. I remember that shit, and that was when boxing was at its best, as far as I'm concerned, and the love for it. So it's a lot of fickle ass, fake ass, wannabe fucking fans in this sport. It really is. It's a lot of cynical bastard ass fans in this sport. It really is. But that's the sport we live in. We got to take the bad with the good. Tyson Fury doing what he doing. Tyson Fury is only doing what we see a lot of these guys do. Just like Amir Khan. We've been listening to Amir Khan shit on social media forever. And Tyson Fury is doing He ain't doing nothing no goddamn different. Scorsese touched upon the ring. I seen the ring when Canelo dropped the belt. The ring still kept this motherfucker as the lid on it. One goddamn 60. Like, what the fuck? He dropped the belt and you still keep him at 160? So they will make adjustments. I've seen this sport make adjustments, make changes for the fighters they like. But when it comes to the fighters they don't like, they have other sets of rules for them. So that's the bad part about boxing. And we all just have to, sometimes we just have to sit back and take it and be like, you know what? Even if I feel this way, I have to understand that, you know what, this is, you know, that this is just the sport that I love. It ain't always great. It ain't always glamour, but this is the sport that I love. And then at the end of that, we have to be honest with ourselves. Why is it happening? Because if Tyson Fury was American, okay, if Deontay Wilder did what Tyson Fury do, we want him off the fucking planet. And that's just, that's me being real. People can hate it. If Deontay Wilder did what Tyson Fury did, we want him off the fucking planet.
Yep.
Okay, but the certain fans and certain locations, certain areas are totally different everywhere we look, and there's nothing we can do about it. Social media has made it to where anybody and everybody can say what they want and feel some kind of way. So Tyson Fury doing what he's doing, he's only appealing to those that follow him on social media. He's doing nothing no different than Amir Khan, and we've been seeing Amir Khan do it. You know, so you know, like I say, I hope this is the last we hear of him, but we know it won't. Because all he has to do is say, you know, I didn't say I retired, changed my mind, y'all, I'm back. And to Jacob, not to Jacob, the Daniel point, it's that old saying, careful what you wish for. Well, he wanted to be champion, then he became champion. He got content, he got complacent. He felt, I have no more challenges out there. And to Jacob's point, that fight was so bad with him and Wladimir Klitschko, like that wasn't a fight that there was a winner. It's just that was a fight where somebody had to win. Like people really don't even want to claim, you know, put that on fucking Klitschko's resume as a L. It was that bad. So, but I mean, I still love this sport, but I mean, we got to be honest. It ain't just the magazines. It ain't just the fighters. It's all parts of boxing has led us down this path we on right now. All parts of it. All parts of the sport has led us down this path, man.
I think you was wanting to say something, Gus and Scorsese?
I was going to say, and it's going to continue, because say if Wilder did what Tyson Fury did, let's say if he gets to the point where he's capable of doing that, I already know some of the black channels I listen to, they're going to say, hey, y'all fine with this shit when Tyson Fury done it, but I get it. Like it's sort of like you feel like victimized because you saying, yo, why is it cool with him, but it's not cool with that guy? But it's like a cycle that keep going, because eventually a black fan is gonna be able to point that out if that was to happen. And you're right, we got a sick ass sport, and I promise you, sometimes I wake up and tell myself I ain't watching this shit no more. And that's why I was going so hard, because I don't want to disrespect Fury, him, or nothing like that. But at the end of the day, man, you really about to change my life right here, because I'm about to put this shit down. I'm not finna be involved in all this racist, all this class. I can't say classic. Let's say I don't like this guy, so I'm gonna act this way. I'm gonna discredit, devalue this guy, and that finds a way to keep these guys out of fights. That finds a way to stir up hate for them. They can't do no right even when they doing right. And make the sport too easy for everybody else to come in who ain't really good fighters, but they get all kind of fights. Happen to win one. Now you call him a Hall of Famer. He really ain't have nothing to him though. Tired of it. To me, tired of it.
You was want to chime in, Gus?
Yeah, Mike. I was just going to say, as ugly as his victory may have been to those who deem it as ugly, but he sustained hardly any punishment, and Anthony Joshua took a whole lot more punishment than what Tyson Fury did.
Yeah, but that's because Klitschko actually threw punches in the Joshua fight.
No. What it was is that Tyson Fury's sort of unorthodox lateral movement, and the fact that he psychologically got in his head and dictated him pretty much. So it was not only his skills, but it was also his mental psyche. That takes some doing. So you have to give him credit for that.
Yeah, you can, but
I agree with Gus. Because if you look at it, and this is the reason. And Gus, you kind of took my point. I said, look how fast Klitschko called for that rematch with Fury. He didn't do that as fast with Joshua. But you're right though, Gus. What Tyson Fury did. Watch any fight that Klitschko ever had. Nobody got in his head mentally like Tyson Fury. And then also you have to look at a lot of guys that Vladimir Klitschko fought. He also knew them from being in training camp. He was never in camp with Tyson Fury, so he didn't know what to expect going in that fight, going in that ring.
Indeed, but ultimately at the end of the day, what he has done afterwards. And Gus, you said it. It's hard to be sympathetic towards a Fury, given the stability that he has. Yes, mental health is a real issue, no doubt about it, and it should be talked about. It should be discussed. It should be analyzed, no doubt about it. But the question is, how can I put this? Has Scorsese put? The question is, one, what is Fury doing to really deal with it? Two, while he's dealing with those issues, and he should deal with it, no doubt, why is the heavyweight division to a certain extent being held hostage as he's dealing with these issues? It's not right that Fury is still considered a champion, has him as a belt, still claims him as the Ring Magazine title. Why? Technicality, yeah, but after a while, you need to take that away. That's number one. Two, again, Tyson Fury, as someone who's a mental health advocate, you or someone needs to find a way to deal with your issues. You got to, period.
That would probably mean doing the one thing I think that travelers really do not like to do, which is leave the tribe. It would literally probably take Tyson Fury moving probably out of the UK, period, going somewhere else where he doesn't have a bunch of yes men around him, and have to figure out life in that aspect. Because unfortunately, the bad thing about it is, and we know how Irish travelers are pretty tribalistic. They kind of got forced into that corner, but as long as he's there, as long as he's around those people that are always going to say yes, because remember, he's not only the champion, he's the Gypsy King. He's not going to be able to deal with the opponents because people are not going to try to tell him no. And unfortunately, that's a problem that boxers have for a long time. I will always point out one of the Mike Tyson's biggest failures, besides Don King charging him like thousands of dollars for towels, is he hired somebody named Crocodile, whose only job was to hype him up.
I got two words for Tyson. A name, actually. Nigel Benn. All the shit you was doing, he got his shit straight. Grown men do grown men business. Grown men do grown men things. You are a millionaire. Mental health is no excuse here. When people know you need help, you know it. You need it yourself. You ain't going to get it. I do not feel as sorry for you as the guy that's on the street corner that came back from a war that is fucked up because he don't know how to go get help. He ain't got no support. I ain't got a lick of sympathy for no damn Tyson Fury. Not one. I don't care if I had what they said about Jesus. I don't care if I had 1,000 tongues. I still wouldn't have a fucking lick of sympathy for his ass. That's how I feel about it.
I would argue though that what you said, Daniel, is about having a bunch of yes men around it. I think that's with celebrityism and in general.
It is
everybody that's has some type of fame or money or power, they have a bunch of people around them that are hanger-oners that are going to give them the yes. And really what it comes down to is, what does Tyson Fury want to do with his life? If he wants to be an actual fighter, then he's going to have to make some hard decisions and get away from those type of situations. If he doesn't, then he can, live with that and do what he does now.
But unfortunately, the virus is even spreading to his cousin Huey Fury as well. I just a lot of respect for what he did to Joseph Parker and all of those antics in trying to get the fight back to the UK. That really did disappoint me. And speaking to a lot of people who actually got visas to go over to New Zealand, they lost a lot of money as well. So this is a problem with the entire Fury camp, unfortunately.
Let's move on. Yeah, I was going to say, let's move on and talk about some other issues. One more news story that broke today. I'll go to you, Gus. Eddie Hearn announced today that Jorge Linares will fight Luke Campbell, excuse me, September 23rd in Las Vegas on HBO, After Dark. The issue for me is, Gus, that Campbell kind of technically deserves the shot because he's ranked #1 by the BC and the BA. The problem is, based on what I've seen of Campbell, he may have technically earned the right, but I don't think he's ready for the likes of Linares, not based on what I've seen of him in the ring. Again, it's a little bit wrong to have you speak for everyone in the UK, but I'm going to ask you the question anyway. The vibe in reaction to this announcement of Campbell fighting Linares, do they give him how much of a shot do they give him?
Luke Campbell was probably the most talented amateur going into London. Well, at the time when he won the gold medal, people were a little bit unsure about Joshua because when he was up against in the Baku World Championships where he got a silver, but Luke was definitely the more touted fighter. Now he suffered that loss against Yvonne Mendy, which did expose some of his deficiencies, and the main problem was his overconfidence. In the amateur, he was able to use his size and his length, to dictate fighters in, fighting at bantamweight. But moving up to, 135 over here, he's found it certainly a lot more difficult. Now, after the Mendy defeat, he did try and, restructure and reorganize, and he hooked up with, Jorge Rubio, and he took his training camp away from Hull, where he's been a very much a grounded man over there, and he made the sacrifices. He had a very young family. His father was quite critically ill as well, so he's had to make some, hard decisions, almost a trade-off, to sort of refocus out in Miami. And you've got to give him credit for that. It's humbled him. I think he's definitely a better fighter under Jorge Rubio, who was recommended to him by David Hay. His performances have been okay, have been better. I would have preferred him taking, the Mendy rematch to try and rectify whatever errors he felt he had in the first fight. And the one error, Mike, is if you can back him up, and Darlis Perez did that to a certain extent as well. He definitely does have problems. He does have silky skills. He has a lot of punch variety. Very, very good. Skillful, aesthetically pleasing boxer. But when you're able to get up to his grill, fast hand combinations from angles, and you push him back, the main thing, that seemed to be his kryptonite. And we know Jorge Linares, has certainly embodies all of those, those characteristics. A difficult fight, but it's the right time for him, Mike. He's old as well now, Luke Campbell. He's not going to get any better now. So it's now or never. I think it's the right time. There definitely is demand. People were thinking the fight would be in Manchester. It would have been better, or at the O2. So it's over there. I don't think it's a major disadvantage, given that he's spending a lot of his time, in the United States, his training camp. So, he's able to acclimatize quite well. I think it's a good fight, Mike. I give Luke Campbell a better chance than what most people do, primarily because I've watched his career from the worlds, to the amateurs. I do see a lot of skill and talent there. I think he can put it together for one fight. I think it's a tremendous fight, Mike. I'm really excited for that one.
I'm just going to open it up for everyone here. Reaction to the announcement that Linares is going to be fighting Luke Campbell in September.
I'm actually with you, Mike. I can't be mad at it because it's a stay busy fight. But at the same time, I'm with you, Mike. I don't think Luke Campbell is ready for that level of.
I just worry about whether Campbell can handle the combination of speed and skill.
Yeah, and you're right. And that's what I'm saying. Well, not just speed, skill, ring IQ, all of that. So I just don't think he can handle it. Now, I take nothing away from him. He's in that position. Who knows what he might do, because every dog has his day, and if Jorge Linares goes in his ring and he's not taking Luke Campbell seriously, he's looking at it like it's a stepping stone, don't train properly, then we could see a new champion, right? And we've seen this before. I mean, sometimes when you're the hunter so long and then you become the hunted, you kind of get a little lackadaisical. So I don't think Luke Campbell is ready, but hey, maybe he'll surprise and shock us. I give him props for making it to the #1 contention spot. But as far as this being a stay busy fight, I don't have a problem with it. And of course, by me loving boxing and wanting to see Jorge Linares, because this is a guy who I really felt there's a lot of boxing fans. Like when I talk about Golden Boy, this is the type of shit I hate about Golden Boy. You got dudes that you could push, but you don't. You spend all your time on fucking Canelo, and you got guys who are actually out here making fights. They ain't dropping fucking belts. They ain't, making you wait for fights. They're actually out here fucking fighting, and you don't put none of that machine behind them like you should. That's the shit I hate from Golden Boy. But I'm glad Jorge Linares is coming over to America. Hopefully, other fans will get to see him. But I'm with you though, man. I'm a little worried about Luke Campbell. I see Jorge Linares winning this by a blowout, or he could probably knock him out. But again, this is boxing. We just never know.
Yeah, you never know. But I'm one who I think highly of Linares. I'm one of the few out there who thinks that he could not just hang with Garcia, that he could very well beat Garcia. Again, I'll just open up for anyone who wants to comment. Linares Campbell, what's your thoughts?
I mean, go ahead.
No, I was talking to somebody else. Sorry, I had the mic on.
I mean, I'm excited for it in the sense that, I mean, it looks like it's going to be at the Forum. So, being on the West Coast, I get to go see him. Actually, funny enough, the one time I got to see Luke Campbell fight, and I think the one time he fought in the States at the StubHub, Linares was on that same card. And I agree with the Gus in the sense that, it's now or never for Campbell. And, Linares, as great as he is, the one thing that is kind of like the question mark for me on him is that he could be hurt. And kind of what Bo was saying before, every dog has his day. If he can catch Linares and hurt him, we know that Linares could potentially be stopped. So I mean, when somebody's motivated by winning a belt, or they get their shot and they take it seriously, anything can happen in boxing. For me, at the end of the day, I just want to see the champions stay active and fight, as often as possible. I know Linares had some problems with injuries and whatnot, and he's coming off 2 sensational wins versus Crolla in the Lions Den. So, but I mean, he's a good fighter, and I'll be excited to be there, live and take it all in and get the opportunity to see these fighters live, because that's my whole thing, is that I want to see these guys fight as many times as I can live, because they're not going to be around forever.
I might have to come to Long Beach, Jacob.
What was that, Gus?
You're welcome. Come on down, buddy. Come on down.
I might even make the rare trip to Long Beach.
Come on down.
G6 or G4? G6 or G4, Gus?
G10.
Your thoughts, Daniel, and Scorsese on this fight?
I'll put it bluntly. Luke Campbell fucking up. pretty much, because I don't. Like I said, I'm in the opinion he's nowhere near ready for a fighter of a caliber of a Jorge Linares. I probably would have liked it better if he probably would have done a fight with Crawler, because that'd be a good, biggest step fight, and it'd be a good fight for both. But I understand, yeah, he is number one by the WBC, and because Mikey's busy right now with Broner, Linares needs a partner. But Linares never struck me as a guy who does take things a little lightly, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a good introduction to the HBO audience what Jorge Linares can do, and hopefully this allows Titan Promotions to maybe loosen the strings a little bit, let Golden Boy handle more of the business side, because that's the tricky part when it comes to Linares. He's one of these co-promoted guys. He's promoted by Golden Boy and Titan Promotions. I think Mr. Honda's been a little bit too tight on him. So overall it's a good fight. Like I said, Luke Campbell had to step up sometime. And while Flanagan is probably faking an injury to get out of a Verdejo fight, like I said, Mikey's busy with Broner.
I don't know about that, because Verdejo, he hadn't shown much anything. So, I mean, what's the reason for that? Given Verdejo how he's been acting.
Yeah, but it just shows again it's Terry Flanagan. So,
Yeah,
leave it there. Leave it there.
He broke his nail and he can't fight apparently.
Wow, you serious?
A nail. Well, but if it's a foot nail, I've had that happen to me before. I can understand it.
Oh, I think he may have cut himself shaving, Mike, and he can't have any more, man.
Oh,
wow.
That, yeah. I'm bleeding. I can't fight. I'm bleeding.
At least that's a better excuse than Khan's been given for not fighting lately, but that's another story. I'll go to you, Scorsese. Your thoughts on this fight? Think Campbell can be competitive, or do you think it's easy work for Linares?
To be competitive, he got to change everything he is. You know, he wanted to fight tall, want to throw his punches when he want to, combination here and there, get away from you. You know, but like Gus said, I was thinking, you know, man, one more fight, two more fights, they take him. Nah, he is old, ain't he? You know, I really forgot Luke up there. So at the end of the day, it's no excuses in the craft that you've done since you're a teenage boy. You should be able to go outside yourself. You know, you shouldn't just be limited to fighting one style. And if you can't, then Linares gonna run them hands in your face. Now, can he be hurt? Yeah, possibly, but you gonna be busy getting hands ran in your face. So, you know, no excuses. He's up. He is old. He's not 23-year-old kid. He is up there. Gus really reminded me of that. So, like I said, either you step outside yourself, or you gonna step out that ring with an L. Simple. You got to come put that pressure on Linares. You got to say, yo, I'm younger than you. I ain't been beat like you before. I got to make you really feel me. But same time, you going to feel him. So if you ain't willing to do that, you ain't willing to be a champion. So, hey, that's the beauty of this shit. People think they could just, certain fighters think they could just go and train the camp. I learned one thing. I'm the best in the world. I'm good. Nobody's going to test me this way. And yeah, you got to be that person going to step outside yourself. Like I said, step out that ring with an L, and this is especially the case for Luke Campbell this time. Either you land something lucky, and Linares done took some shots his last couple fights. He stays sturdy. He might be over that a little bit. So no, I don't think he wins this fight. But if he go for it and do what I'm saying, just attack this man, I'm gonna respect him. That's the only chance you got.
Let's get into some fight previews. That's happening this weekend. A lot of boxing happening this weekend. Should we spend any time talking about Sadam Ali fighting tomorrow, or should we move on?
Move on.
man, that damn dude he fighting it's like 1 and 2 the other day. The guy he's fighting, man, no. Perez, nah, they wrong.
Nah, well, it's one of those fights where, you know, it's one of those fights that try to build his confidence. I understand why they're doing it. It's just gonna take him a while after just the way that he lost to Jesse Vargas is going to take him a while to get back.
I thought he already had a fight for that. I thought he already this ain't the first fight, man. He just had like a few of those for that.
No, I think this is I think it's his second. And remember, the first one he didn't look that good either.
You know, you could be putting something else better on the card. I mean, unless it's just something that I don't know where this is even at. What is on?
It's on ESPN. So
if you was in a position to win a championship and you lost, and you telling me you need 2 confidence fights, you a weak ass motherfucker. Let's move on.
So we will move on. Look, I want to focus on the big bout of the weekend. Adrien Broner, Mikey Garcia fighting Saturday. I can't remember if it was a Showtime or pay-per-view. Showtime. Okay. Look, call me crazy, but I think this is a situation. Well, the fight is happening in New York, by the way. Call me crazy, but I think this is a situation where Broner knows is kind of like his last stand, last opportunity. I'm not saying he's going to beat Garcia. I still don't know, but I think that Broner's going to put on a hell of a fight. I think he's finally in a camp where he's taking it seriously. I'm not liking the way Garcia's body's looking right now at this higher weight of 140. Maybe Garcia is not overlooking him, but just think that just because of Broner, the way Broner is fighting recently, that he could just walk right over him. I don't think so. I think Broner's going to go in there and really show and prove, going to bring hell in the ring for a change. He's fine. My problem is that Broner, he seems not to ever get it. I think for this fight, he's going to get it. Whether he wins, I don't know. But like I said before, I think Broner can do some things in there that could give Mikey Garcia problems. And I'll just open it up here and let everybody talk about it, please.
I'll go then. You know what? Broner, we've been talking about Broner supposedly taking it serious, and you know, for all the talent that he possesses, he has not shown me that he's changed. He just doesn't let his hands go, and he seems to rely on, you know, landing that one punch or staging some type of comeback. I mean, he's been in competitive fights where they shouldn't have been competitive, and I personally thought he lost the fight against Granados, but I mean, it was in what I think it's in Cincinnati, so in the backyard, and he got the split decision. So, you know, I think Mikey, since he's returned, is really serious, and he has a lot of skills to me, and I think he knows that if he beats Broner and he beats him convincingly and just kind of chops him down, that this means bigger things for him. So I got Garcia winning this by destruction, because the Broner that we've always been waiting to show up since the Maidana fight just never shows up. And to me, it's like he's had too many chances to prove that, you know, he's that fighter that we thought he was, and he just continues to disappoint.
Comments from everyone else, please.
Broner's, well, if you look at Broner's pictures recently, it does look like he's gotten into the Skeletor Rios realm of you're cutting way too much weight. He's kind of he's outgrown 140 pounds. As much as 140 pounds would probably make sense for him, he's technically outgrown it. He's, for all intents and purposes, probably a welterweight. But the problem with Broner, and that's always been the problem with Broner, is he's a much better offensive fighter than a defensive fighter. He'll throw combinations and he'll land punches all he wants, but the minute you hit him, he has to mentally reset. He can't counter naturally. He has to stop, think about what to throw next, and then throw it, which, by the way, gives the other guy a chance to throw 2 or 3 more punches. So that's the problem that Broner's going to face. And I know I know somebody brought it up when we were spoken to Bo about this, but both of these guys face something unique for the other guy. For Broner, Garcia is the most technically gifted, most technically sound fighter he's faced. But for Garcia, Broner is going to be the biggest guy he's gonna face. Because I see no way of stopping Adrien Broner for probably rehydrating up to middleweight for this fight. But the problem is he's gonna carry that weight, and Mikey, for all the good that he has, is a very, very patient guy. He'll land the combinations that he needs to. He knows when to strike, and if you give him an opening, he's gonna take it. Broner has to be on the gas completely the whole way of the fight. But unfortunately, he's done too little of that in his career, where he stops and he'll land combinations, he'll do the offensive, but then he'll stop once in a while to admire his work. And when the right guy faces him, like a Marcos Maidana, lands a big punch, and suddenly he has to mentally reset, and he might falter. Now, is this probably his quote-unquote last chance? I don't know. I don't really know, because we have to remember, as a promoter, he does have Robert Easter as a champion in his stable. He does have a couple of decent fighters under his stable. That maybe alone may be enough for him to hang on, even if he loses. And if he loses horribly to Mikey, he'll probably get one more fight. He might get a Victor Ortiz fight. Just as a way of evening it out, because he is handling business in the promoter end, at least with one guy in Easter. But unless Broner can legitimately turn back the clock and fight the way he fought when he was at lightweight, I can see Garcia winning this on points.
Gus and Bo, your thoughts on this fight?
You know, Mike, this fight for me is 2 years too late. Had it been 2-3 years ago, you're talking about a pay-per-view fight and one of the most desired, anticipated fights. Because Mikey back then, before his self-imposed exile, was considered as, you know, the sort of next brightest thing coming out of the States. And we know Adrien Broner, you know, at the lower weights was undefeated, and you know, he was a real live wire. So in a way, Mikey's momentum in the 2 years has more or less been extinguished because he made the worst economic decision I think any boxer has made in recent decades. When he was able to command over $1 million a fight, he suddenly felt that he wanted $2 million per fight.
Let me interrupt you for a quick question here.
Yeah.
And I'll ask a question for everyone. Why are the same folks who constantly jump on Andre Ward when he stepped away for 2 years because of a battle with his manager, his handlers, and whatnot? Why don't they be as critical towards Mikey Garcia for stepping away for 2 years because of the situation between him and Aaron?
I mean, I'm critical of both Ward and Garcia, because for me, you sign a contract, you got to finish out that contract. Like,
I'm just saying, every time you see Andre Ward or hear his name in boxing social media, they jump down his throat. But when it comes to Mikey Garcia and his situation, it's too many people giving him a pass for this. I just wanted to know why. What's the difference?
I never in my life gave him one. I always said this was always his problem. And even when he came back, talking about he wanted to fight top-ranked fighters, I said, "Ooh, you had the chance. You obviously don't want none of those guys. You talking about some Lomachenko? You talking about some Crawford? Get out of here, bro." And you know, people always had something smart to say, but you're 100% right. 2 years out of
I'm sorry, Gus.
And what's gonna happen is, you done picked up 5 pounds. You're slower than you naturally were, and now you're fighting somebody that may be the best counterpuncher you ever fought. That could spell a lot of hell if Broner's healthy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Gus, for interrupting, but I just had to put that question out there. Proceed, Gus.
No, it was a valid point, and I agree with what Scorsese was saying as well. So, in one respect, I'm glad that the fight is actually a 140. I think Broner's better between sort of 135, 140. And on the inside, Mike, Adrien Broner, for all those who feel that he may have regressed or has become a more flat-footed fighter, which is true to a certain extent. He is fucking surgical on the inside. That left hand he has can sometimes be lightning quick. It's the punch you don't see, and the way he fires that punch, that could cause Mikey problems, because left hooks up top have caused Mikey problems in the past, because he does tend to drop his hands. Certainly when he's firing to the body, his right will come down. But the question is how he's going to navigate getting to the inside with somebody who's very good on his feet, is able to set traps very well. I think Adrian's going to have to take a lot of punches. Fortunately, Mikey doesn't throw a lot of volume. He's more of an ambush predator, and he's looking to set you up, certainly with straight punches. So how do you counter straight punches? I think Adrien he's got to utilize a lot more foot movement in this fight. And I think those 5-1 odds have really put a firecracker up his backside, because he seems to have been really affected by, the casino odds, and it seems to have, really instigated him. And I think he's far more motivated for this fight. He's more determined to prove a point. So you could see a more aggressive, a more focused, and a better Adrien Broner. I certainly expect that. I don't think it is as one-sided as what the casinos and what the critics are saying. I think it's a genuine 50-50 fight. I think Adrien is taking punches by heavier buyers. I think he's able to take the punches better. I think he's got a good chin as well. I think he's far more rough and ugly on the inside, and he's got to get the fight on the inside, and I think he will. 50-50 down the line, Mike. Anyone's call.
You want to add any more, Scorsese?
I just want to say it ain't nobody got no excuse after this fight. Like Mikey Garcia said, I jumped up to 140 because if you wouldn't have took all those years off, which were your fault, you probably would have been there already anyways. You were growing really big at them class. You was missing weight a few times yourself. Adrien Broner can't say, oh, the only person that beat me was a technical box. Nah, you ain't got nowhere to go either. Bigger fighters beat you. Better boxers beat you. I like this. And I don't like that we got questions about both of them weight. Not just Adrien Broner weight. I agree with Daniel. That man looks sick. But not just his weight. His face. He 25, 6?
Yeah.
You look in his face. It looked like I'm not trying to be funny here, but alcohol abuse. Some serious stress going on there, not just because he ain't got a haircut. This man, over 3 years, he done changed heavy. And I don't know. I didn't see the Mikey Garcia body picture, but that can tell a story. Did he look puffy or something?
No, but that was one of the main things that it's probably to address. I'm gonna probably address, because it is a nice little hypocritical thing that we boxing fans do when it comes between Adrien Broner and Mikey Garcia. I think the only way we justify it is that Adrien Broner has done it more than once. And with Mikey, I think he's only done it once. And in reality, Mikey did have an out. Like, before he came back, I always said he probably left because he always wanted to be more of a cop than a fighter. It was just fighting. He was something he did well. But in the end, he wants to be a cop. So, but he came back, and he did, and the way he did it, he didn't stay out the box. He was always in the gym with his brother Robert. So he was always keeping himself in shape just in time. So he took it seriously enough where he was able to stay in shape. Ward does too, but I think the problem is with Ward is probably that he did it more than once after he lost the first time. But that's like I said, that's like another thing where you're completely right, Mike, that it is hypocritical that we don't really attack Mikey the same way we attack Ward. And that's my main criticism of Ward. To me, Underwood didn't find a contract he would honor. So, in that aspect, Mikey's almost the same way. And this fight, though, the thing that's probably difficult about this fight, when the people want to gauge 50-50s, we want to see the best Broner. We want to see the guy that has the fast left hand that can throw combinations as fast as possible. I don't think that guy's there anymore, unfortunately. And it's a combination to me of him, his lifestyle, just going around partying, his indecision to stay at either 140 or go or try to be a welterweight, which I don't. His body's probably there now, but I don't think he has the power to really do damage now at welterweight. And this is kind of almost the same thing with Tyson Fury. And it is true, the same thing with every celebrity. He is surrounded a lot by a bunch of yes men that pretty much let him do almost whatever he wants. And that's caught him in trouble a few times. Like I said, I'm just surprised now that nothing has popped up that is going to stop this fight. Now, I don't know. He might do something in Brooklyn later on tonight, and suddenly we wake up and there's a mugshot of Adrien Broner and NYPD in the local news. But it's as much as I would probably say boxing-wise it should be a 50 fight, Broner's behavior to me always has leaned me towards Garcia, and Mikey's patience overall has leaned me towards Garcia.
I say this out. I said alcohol abuse in my comment. I wouldn't be surprised if a VADA test came back and we was talking some Fury type deals with he on. I really do. Like, I see something in Adrien Broner that I seen in some young people before. He changing. Like, he getting older a lot quicker in an abusive type of way. And you know what I'm saying? Adrien Broner listened to that Percocet rap. He listened to that shit, and it's kind of like a follower type of mentality, like y'all said. Yes, anybody that need yes men really ain't trying to lead shit. They follow it. And I wouldn't be surprised if a VADA came back or if somebody said, hey, take this, don't say what's really going on with Adrien, let us get on about our business. Wouldn't be surprised, man. I don't trust that body. Not one bit. That thing look like he feels sick. Like, I know that feeling.
Let's move on. Jorge, not Jorge, but Jermall Charlo. What I'm saying.
Hold on, Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bo. Go ahead.
Hold on, Mike. You know, the thing is, to your point about the Ward thing, because the Ward have shoulder surgery, and then from there, he went into the lawsuit. But the reason why people hold what they do against Ward, from some of the people I talked to, who felt should be on the pound for pound list. And there was a lot of people that felt like he shouldn't be on the pound for pound list. He shouldn't be talked about as being a top 10 pound for pound fighter. People didn't like that about it.
You're kind of going in and out on us, Bo. So what you may need to do.
I know this one thing over Mikey. Mike.
Yeah, you're going in and out on us, Bo. So you may have to refresh.
No, I'm good. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can now. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, my bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, but I was on Mikey Garcia. That's when he didn't fight. Your boy wanted to fight him back when he was down at 126, 130. So, but the thing with this Broner and Garcia fight is I don't know if Broner can get back what we knew about. Like, yeah, you can go into training camp. Yeah, you can have a different mindset. But because when you don't use something for a long time, or you don't do something for a long time in boxing, generally in boxing, when you don't do something for a while, you need more than one training camp to get you back to who you used to be, or to get you back to where you are. And I'm just not confident that Adrien Broner went into this camp with the ability to do that. Yeah, he's super athletic. He's going to be the most athletic fighter Mikey Garcia's fought. But we have seen fights where he has not used that athleticism. And Mikey Garcia, for me, it's about trust. So if I had to pick a guy who's been the most consistent with their skills at that level, I got to go with Mikey Garcia. Because Adrien Broner, in my honest opinion, was a B-level dude that was given A-level passes and A-level treatment because of who he was connected to. But once, to Scorsese's point, he looks old because he bought into the character of Adrien Broner instead of the fighter of Adrien Broner, and he was living that fast lifestyle, going up and down in weight, struggling with weight. I remember the one fight with Floyd, he came to the dressing room with a pot belly. So when you're not constantly living that fighter's lifestyle, these are some of the things that happen. So I just like Mikey Garcia from the aspect of he's been the more consistent fighter, and Daniel said it best, and this is what I say about Adrien Broner. People think a pressure fighter is the way to beat Broner. No, it's not. A guy can keep coming forward to you, but if he ain't doing shit, he ain't doing nothing. What you do with Broner is, as a precise puncher like Mikey, you just keep a punch in his face. Because if you keep a punch, whether it hurts him or don't hurt him, he's not going to throw back. So I like Mikey in this, but I hope I'm wrong, because if Adrien Broner loses this fight, I don't know where he goes if he loses. Really, honestly, I don't know where he goes if he loses this fight.
Feed him to the beast.
I really don't know where he goes.
Baranchik, baby.
Huh?
Feed him to the beast, Ivan Baranchik.
Yeah, I'm really like, really, I mean, I don't know where he goes, and it's sad because this is the guy we talking about that had all that talent. And it could be like Adrien Broner. If he loses this fight, Adrien Broner be a 30 for 30 movie if he loses this fight. The talent that never was.
Yeah, and
seriously.
When a bad test come back, man, I really do. I'm not trying to pick on Adrien Broner, but the psyche, like you said, this guy was connected to the highest. People were saying this is your show. To fall from that, it takes a strong character. It takes somebody, I think, stronger than Adrien Broner. Bo mentioned the pot.
But see, the reason why I'm doubting that is because this is also the same dude. 1 minute he mad at Floyd, 1 minute he okay with Floyd, then 1 minute he want to fight Tank Davis, then he want to stick Robert. It's like, come on, dog. I mean, if you're gonna be your own man, be your own man. But don't. And that's my. He's pulled in so many different ways, and he got so many distractions. Yeah, he telling me this one training camp, I let go of the distractions. But over the course of the years, is your mind right? And I'm not sure about that. So if I had to go off faith, I'm going to pick the more consistent fighter that has shown me more consistency, and that's Mikey Garcia.
Let's move on. Quickly, Daniel, quickly.
Okay, no, it's about the only thing I wanted to add to that is the whole aspect when, Broner is going to be a perfect case of wasted talent if he loses this fight, because this is a kid who's been given every opportunity to either succeed or to make up for prior losses. And this one you can't really excuse. Like I said, he's doing good things as a promoter. Like I said, he's keeping guys locally there. He does have a champion in Robert Easter. But at the end of the day, people are going to know him as the guy that was being hyped up. And because I was hearing the British broadcast, they were hyping him up really, really big in a Michael Maidana fight. They were calling him the next big thing. He's the heir apparent to Floyd, and when he got stepped up to the plate, he just couldn't pass the test.
Move on to some other bouts on this card. Jermall Charlo fighting Jorge Sebastian Heiland, WBC middleweight eliminator. Jermall Charlo making his debut at 160 pounds. Look, I see Jermall, and I see the guy almost like the next coming at that weight, past Canelo and Triple G. I think he has the potential to be that good. The question is, and anybody who wants to respond, please do, are we overlooking Heiland a bit and what he can do in the ring in praising Charlo's ability?
I think Heiland's a live dog in this fight, and if Charlo can put him away convincingly, I think that would be a nice little win to add to his cap. I expect Charlo to win, but he shouldn't overlook Heiland. Heiland, I think, has some decent skills, and he can bang too.
Anyone else?
I agree with Jacob, because one of the things that is affecting us probably the sea change is because American fans have not seen Heiland. He is mostly in Argentina. So, but people don't know that he does have a pretty good skill set. He does have decent pop for that weight. and Triple G's been trying to get, like I said, the big fight. He finally got it, but I think he was getting close to paying step aside money to Heiland to get another fight. So it's gonna be an interesting thing because, okay, we know Jermall hits hard. We know he does mean to, and he know he uses his height, but we know that he can do it at junior middleweight. We don't really know if he can do it at middleweight because, yeah, that's, like I said, it's 6 pounds, but 6 pounds could mean a world of difference between a guy who's just getting there and a guy who's been there. And Heiland, to me, is going to be a live dog. It's going to be an interesting fight for Jermall. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to put it on notice because that fight will put him as the mandatory for the winner of Canelo Triple G.
Your thoughts, Scorsese. Oh, I'm sorry, Daniel. Go ahead, continue on.
No, I was about to say. No, let's say that was it.
I just see this small dude getting keep on the end of the jab. I saw the weigh-in picture, and he looked like he was on one knee proposing to Charlo instead of facing up with him. Charlo had to look down at a very big diagonal angle and just like, yo, you sure you're not 140-pounder type thing? He's gonna get put on the end of the jab. Gonna get that K9 Bundridge treatment. Yeah, more from Charlo to come after that. I don't think Heiland has any. Nah.
Your thoughts, Gus. If you're around, Gus, unmute your mic. I don't think Gus is there at the moment, so we'll move on to other fights.
Did Bo get to say?
No, Mike been forgetting me all night because I'm being too quiet.
My bad. Go ahead, Bo. My bad, Bo.
Nah, it's cool. Here's the thing: we have to remember, like what Daniel was saying, we have to remember. He had one fight, came in at 157, so he kind of outgrew that 154 a while back. He was just waiting to fight Julian Williams. Standpoint, Jermall, because he fought Trout, he fought Julian Williams. Like the path he took to get to the path he took, I think gave him the experience he needs. So, and he can take a punch because Julian Williams hit him with a hard shot, and he was able to take that punch. So, I like this fight for him. I think he's looking to make a statement with Heiland to let everybody know that I'm here. And depending on the outcome of the Triple G Gennady Golovkin fight, he could possibly be fighting for the vacant WBC belt because, Canelo might not take that belt. And of course, he still has some sort of animosity holds against Canelo for not fighting him at 154. And he's a guy who wants, like, he wants to fight Gennady Golovkin. He wants to fight Canelo. He wants to fight these dudes, and that's a rarity for us to see. So I like that dog in him. But I think he beats Heiland. Lesser fighters that wasn't as skillful as Jermall has beat Heiland. So I think he beats Heiland, but if he needs to look good in beating him. Like, you can't just beat him up for 12 rounds. You got to get him out of there and get him out of there early if you want to make the statement you want to make.
Let's move on to some other fights. I don't think Gus is with us right now. He may have fallen asleep because he's over there enjoying his life from the UK. And I'll go back to you, Bo, so I won't forget this damn time. Heavyweight. His mouth is as big as his stature. Fighting Gerald Washington, who recently was lost to Deontay Wilder a few months back. Well, earlier this year, I should say. Look, Big Baby still don't know how good he is yet. Is Gerald Washington good as he looked early in the fight with Wilder? We don't know how good he is yet. Intriguing heavyweight matchup, Bo.
Man, this is one I wish you would have skipped me on. All right, Big Baby Miller. I've had some serious criticism about Big Baby Miller. He talks better than he fights, as far as I'm concerned. He's nothing but a goof, a fucking oaf that stumbles around that goddamn ring, leans on you, puts his body on you, and overwhelms you with punches. Yes, he can hit hard. Yes, he is a heavyweight. But if you get him into the second half of the fight, he tires his like he gonna trip over his fucking tongue. He looks so damn tired to me. But it's a fight that he can win because the one thing we know about Gerald Washington, if you hit him hard, he goes. But Gerald Washington can win this. This is an easy fight for Gerald Washington. Now, does he have the mental capacity to do it? I don't know, because all he has to do is all he has to do is fight tall. He has a very good jab. He has decent footwork, and he has a good punch himself. And his jab is the key to the fight for him to make it easy for him. Because you said we don't know how good Big Baby Miller is. Well, the one thing I've seen from Big Baby is the fact that if you keep a jab in him, he's hesitant to come inside. The only reason why he comes inside is when guys isn't throwing punches or putting something on him. And he comes inside. He's a clumsy big fucking oaf as far as I'm concerned. He does more talking. He talks a hell of a lot better than he fights. And he just leans on you and just overwhelms you with punches, where if you have the skill that Gerald Washington have, you should be able to beat that. But I don't know if Gerald Washington has the mental capacity to do that over the course of a 10-round fight. So, I mean, I'm picking Gerald Washington because I'm looking at his skill set, and I think from a skill set perspective, he has what it takes to beat him. But, again, like I say, I don't know if he's mentally there, but I swear to God, I really don't care if I see either one of these motherfuckers again in heaven. It's not Gerald Washington's fault, but I got feelings about Gerald Washington because the whole time with Deontay Wilder, he was being nice to him. Yeah, champ. Well, thanks for the opportunity. Man, fuck that dude. You trying to fight him. Don't be thanks for the opportunity. You earned that shot. Fuck this guy. Fighters get on my nerve with that shit. Like fighters have this thing. I'm not saying you got to be disrespectful, but you ain't got to kiss nobody's ass, man. You a fighter. Be hungry. Let that motherfucker know, fuck you, I'm here to whoop your ass. Let him know that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's the business. So that's my issue with Joe Washington. And Big Baby, like I said, he just looks better when he's talking shit than when he's actually fighting. He's Big Baby is a tree with arms, as far as I'm concerned, man.
Damn. You went off as much as Scorsese did earlier. Any follow-up, folks?
Yeah, go ahead, Scorsese.
Gus is here, so
go ahead, Jacob. I'll go ahead. I got.
Okay, I see you. Wait a minute. Since Gus's mic is unmuted for the time being, your thoughts on Charlo and Heiland?
I wasn't even too familiar with the scheduled mic whilst in my exile. But it's not a I saw Heiland against Matthew Macklin. Not sure whether that fight was in the UK when he actually beat Macklin. A reasonably competent boxer, Mike, but I think Jermall will probably stop him. He tended to have issues. Certainly, he was getting caught a lot with the uppercut, and certainly when Macklin was, setting traps, trying to go to the body and then go up top, he would sort of drop his hand. So I think he's almost tailor-made to get knocked out on the inside, and I certainly expect Jermall probably to stop him between, say, 7 and 9. Not a lot more I can say about that one.
In terms of Big Baby Miller fighting Gerald Washington, any thoughts on that, or it's just like, yeah?
I'm actually a big fan of Gerald Washington, Mike. I followed his backstory, a very intriguing character, extremely athletic. Was able to play in all sports, spend time, as a helicopter pilot as well, but decided as a mechanic, but then turned his endeavors into boxing, and I think he's a very, very skillful, underappreciated fighter, Mike, who does not only have the ability to fight on the back foot like he did against Eddie Chambers, but against Against Deontay, he was a little bit more aggressive. I liked his foot feinting and his jabs and getting underneath, Wilder's to fire his, his right hand. So there is a lot of methodical intellect to his fighting style, but I didn't like the way he capitulated quite early, and I did felt I was aggrieved at how early the referee did stop that fight, because I felt when he got up, he was relatively sturdy. He looked okay. He wanted to continue, and the follow-up punches, nothing pretty much landed. So I was very, really pissed that fight was stopped early. But it was a worrying sign when Wilder actually fired that, 3-punch combo. His defense, he wasn't even looking at the punches either. So I'm a little bit concerned as to whether he can take the heavier shots. Now, Bo is actually right. Miller, from long mid-distance, you can control him with the jab. He doesn't want to exchange. He can't. He'll cover up. He's still got that K1 sort of mentality when he was fighting in Japan. His objective is to get on the inside, and if he gets on the inside, yeah, he'll land some fast combination punches. He'll get dirty and ugly. He'll lean on you, whatever else. So Washington, I hope he doesn't go back to that Deontay style. I hope he imposes that style against Eddie Chambers, fighting on the outside, keeping it a long distance, firing the overhand right. So it's a difficult one. The question is whether he can impose that style for a 10-round fight to try and offset the fact that Miller doesn't have the stamina for 12. That's why they certainly curtailed the fight to 10 to give him a better chance. If I'm a picking man, I'd probably say Miller may stop him late, Mike.
I'll go to Jacob Scorsese. Daniel, your thoughts on Big Baby and Gerald Washington?
Well, I'm disappointed because I think Gerald Washington, I've had the displeasure of seeing him live a few times, and he's a big dude, but he fights like a midget. He doesn't use his size at all. He doesn't seem to push the fight or engage very much, and against lesser competition. And I don't know, man. The guy I just don't think that he's all that great. And I don't know, maybe he'll prove me wrong, but I think with Big Baby, yeah, he talks a lot of shit, and he's probably not that great of a fighter either, but I think he'll at least try to do something in the fight. And until Gerald Washington gets out of that style that he does, where I think he doesn't use some of his advantages that he has in size and reach, I think he's going to lose, and he's just going to be always that kind of bridesmaid in that division.
Scorsese.
I think Big Baby Jerrell Miller. Damn, why did I call him Jerrell Miller? Y'all been confusing me the whole time. I think Big Baby Miller is one of the best things in sports, rap, trend coming out of New York, period. I mean it. Like, the dude, I don't know if he got in shape for this or not, but what I see is, you see how, like, let's talk about the Pacquiao, Earl Spence, Chris Algieri type comparisons, where Pacquiao was the long puncher, the guy, he throws a straight punches so he couldn't get the job completely done. Whereas Earl Spence done a breakdown job. I beat the body, I beat the head. That's Jerrell Miller. I mean, why do I keep calling him Big Baby Miller? That's what he's going to do to this dude. So he's not going to do the look at you 5 minutes, look for one shot, 5 rounds, the next thing you know, he finally gets you. He actually going to put punches to the body, a jab on you. He do a whole lot more than a Deontay Wilder right now. I think he in good shape right now. I've seen some pictures, and I don't know what he's going to say on the scales.
Man, look,
but when he in shape, the man got some good feet.
Looking and talking is one thing. I ain't giving him no slack. The same dude who said, "Oh, after his last fight, he waited. What was it? 275 or whatever. He talking about he wanted to come down in the 250, 260 range. Next fight, he comes in weighing 20 pounds more. I have to see the belief.
True. But still with that, he found a way to stay on them opponents. Still with that, he found a way to get to them, break their body. People don't be taking the shots. Joe Washington just got knocked out. And that don't mean, hey, I need to go back and fight punches again. Did we not just see what happened to Spilker when he fought somebody that was big, doesn't move so well? Man, that dude stayed on him like white on rice. And Joe Washington finna get the same treatment, in my opinion. The same treatment. Big baby ain't no joke. I mean, I ain't too big on New York. I don't like a lot about New York. But this kid coming up out of there, maybe, hey, it may not be no Wilder Joshua. It may be a big baby Joshua. That's what maybe talking about.
I'll just leave that alone and say you're entitled to your opinion. I have to see more, and I have to see this dude in some serious shape. Katie Taylor. Dare I say? I know all the talk is about a Clarissa Shields, and deservedly so. But dare I say, of the young and up-and-coming women in boxing, she may be the best right now. Making her U.S. debut. Also on this card against a lady by the name of Jasmine Clarkson. I want the opportunity right now for everyone here who wants to talk about her. Speak on Katie Taylor making her U.S. debut.
Let me get on this Baby Miller Washington thing first.
Okay.
I can speak on Katie Taylor.
I'm just forgetting, folks. I'm sorry, Daniel.
No problem. No problem, right quick, man. But, all right. Big Baby Miller is, I'll consider him in the Kurosawa Jerry camp in the sense of the fact that he's coming from kickboxing to be a full-on boxer. And you can tell that despite the fact that he can come in almost 300 pounds at times, that there's some skill there. There's some movement there in that body. The problem is going to be, can he do it in the A level? And unfortunately, I don't think Joe Washington's not even a B level at the moment. Because I kind of share the same opinion that Jacob has of him. That Eddie Chambers fight was utter garbage. So, but I think this probably could be easy work for Miller because he does have a good punch, and he is in his hometown. He does come from Brooklyn, so he's definitely going to have a big hometown crowd. But you have to give him a little bit more time because he has to decide to literally get in shape. Like right now, you look at the pictures, he's wearing fatigues, he's wearing a tight shirt, but then again, that tight shirt could be hiding a real big beer belly. So we have to see how it shapes up, but I think Big Baby Miller's going to win. Now, when it comes to Katie Taylor, she's making the best moves. Eddie Hearn is pushing her at the right pace and taking her to the right markets. And not to mention, like I said, Showtime's gonna air this fight on Facebook and on their YouTube page. So she's definitely gonna be featured. It's gonna be a pretty decent fight, and it'll probably be a crossroads from one Amanda Serrano gonna looking into it, because unfortunately Amanda Serrano is like another New York fighter, made history when it comes to women's boxing recently, but she's unfortunately another one that's seen money not coming into the sport and is already now considering the move to MMA. If Katie Taylor can make these right moves, it might keep Amanda Serrano there. And I'm glad we're going to see Katie Taylor coming into it. She's already getting close to getting a title shot. She's already fought, I don't know, this is what, her fourth fight or her fifth fight this year? So she's obviously being moved up in a very good pace, and I'm really glad for it. And if it shows good enough where you show a pretty good audience, it may keep, like I said, it may keep people like Amanda Serrano from going into MMA. Because unfortunately, particularly when it comes to women boxing, women boxers go to MMA and they don't come back.
Anybody else who want to talk about the U.S. debut of Katie Taylor?
I'm excited for it. You know, I think she's a good fighter, and I'm glad she's getting some exposure. And a couple shows ago about predictions, and hopefully they can show the TV audience and the live and fans that are in attendance that good women boxers out there that have skills and can entertain. And I hope, and they seem to be really active too. Hopefully she puts on a good showing, she wins, and she can get some better matchups in the future.
I want to say, unless you're gonna talk about the girls, Mike, go ahead. If that's what.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Scores. Go ahead, Scores.
I was
You
gonna
want to
say
talk about this fight?
to Daniel's point about Baby Miller wearing the fatigues. I'm looking at him right now. This dude slim. He's slim. He about to beat the hell out of Joe Washington. Watch. You go ahead with the girl. I didn't know if you was going with that or not.
Yeah, we're still going with her.
Says he doesn't like girls, Mike.
Really? Oh, damn.
I watched Katie Taylor a few times. She's impressive. I mean, she put them punches together. The competition been overmatched. I'm not going to tell you that I know Serrano or anything like that, but if you mean to tell me it's going to be a good fight between them, shit, I know they're going to put it on TV and I'm going to watch it that day, but we have to see.
Since you're there, Gus, your thoughts on Katie Taylor making her U.S. debut? Smart move on her part in Hearn?
I didn't even, Mike, I didn't even know she was on the card until about 10 minutes ago. Now, correct, is this the same venue where Frampton fought Santa Cruz the first time?
Help me on that, fellas. I can't remember if this
Barclays,
is
Barclays.
Yes,
it's Barclays.
it was.
Well, there you go, Mike. We saw the large sort of Irish contingent in New York. So yeah, it's a calculated strategy on the part of Eddie Hearn. He probably saw that fight, and you can certainly see the way the Irish will get behind. So yeah, it's definitely a good move. As to the opponent, I don't know anything about the opponent, but in looking at the odds, Mike, the odds are so heavily favoured in front of Katie Taylor, which seems to suggest that the opponent is not any good. I don't even know the record.
4-8.
The record of the opponent?
No, she has a losing record.
She's 4-8.
Yeah, this is, like I said, it's a busy fight. It's one of the things that keep her busy, but it's a good calculated move.
Yeah, Mike, this is all about just expanding her brand, and because she has such a deep amateur background. She could have probably fought for a world title in her second fight. So yeah, this is specifically a marketing, expanding her brand, her name, getting us, some shine in the US. That's pretty much it. A showcase fight, really.
Your thoughts, Bo?
Yeah, it's a stay busy fight, and I kind of got mixed feelings about Katie Taylor. I think as it stands right now, how the way Eddie Hearn is managing her and what the things he's doing with her are good. But I'm a little biased because I know my girl Chantel Cameron wants a piece of Katie Taylor, and I'm a little biased on that one. I'm a little biased about that right there. But it's a stay busy fight. There's nothing wrong with it. Introducing her to the American public, and women's boxing needs this. This is what women's boxing needs. They need this kind of platform, and I'm glad Showtime is doing it.
I want to move on. Carl Frampton is also fighting this weekend in an eliminator. And I want to go to you, Gus, specifically about this because if I can remember the guy's name, I can't remember right now. Offhand, I'll look it up. But you was talking to me about this fight on Skype. He's fighting in Belfast against a guy by the name of Gutierrez. By the way, that fight is going to be on Showtime Facebook Live, folks, and on YouTube. So an interesting concept here. New venue, new platform to watch a fight. But I'm going to go to you, Gus, specifically because we was talking about this fight on Skype a little bit. And you think that Frampton could be in some trouble here against Gutierrez. Expand on it here.
And initially that was my thoughts, Mike, but after watching a lot more of his fights, really superimposing the fight, I think it's a specific choice by Cyclone Promotions. Now, Gutierrez, for a number of reasons, he's Mexican with a very good record superficially, but exclusively, obviously, in Mexico. Now, in a lot of respects, Mike, he's a perfect fight for Frampton, who's coming back of obviously, back-to-back fights against Santa Cruz. He's a front foot heavy fighter who likes to stalk his opponent, try and cut off the ring, and get up in their grill. But he's not the sort of fighter that'll pin him to the ropes. He'll negate that distance, and then he'll try and unload, generally short. Really, technically he throws his punches reasonably correctly, and he tries to throw punches in combinations as well. He'll work the body, he'll work the head as well. So he'll try and break his opponent attritionally, and he does have heavy hands as well. But the one problem which is his deficiency, and I think that's what the Frampton camp is banking off, is that he has problems with opponents who have fast hands and can counter. And that's what, Christian Mijares, the one loss on his record he has. Mijares from the southpaw position was able to counter him with his back almost up against the ropes. Although I felt it was, the judges in Mexico gave the decision to Mijares. I guess it was more of a popularity decision, given that, he was a 3 times featherweight champion, very well respected in Mexico. He was a very good champion as well. The judges clearly didn't see his body work. But I think Frampton, he's very good. He prefers fighters coming to him, Mike. And that's the play Santa Cruz took out of him, where he actually opted to box on the back foot, forcing Frampton to come towards him. Frampton doesn't like that, and he was exposed in that fight. He'll be much happier counter punching on the back foot. And given that Mijares, he also tends to let his fighters spin out as well. He doesn't cut the ring off that successfully as well. So I think Frampton will be able to stick and move, counter punch him. But if Frampton stays at the ropes, then yeah, Mike, he could be in a bit of trouble, because this guy, he's a very good combination punching, and he'll work the body and head. And I'm a little bit worried about the amount of sustained punishment Frampton has taken, ever since the Alejandro Gonzalez fight. Even in the Scott Quigg fight, Mike, he certainly took a lot of body punishment, between sort of rounds 7 to 12. And the first Santa Cruz fight, I think he sustained a hell of a lot of punishment. I've seen the fighter, certainly age a little bit, probably past his best as well. He's talking about retirement as well, so that the negativity certainly seems to be in his head as well. He's talking about, making as much money, relatively quickly and getting out within sort of, a year, maybe 2 years. So, those are all negative signs. And he's talking a lot more about the Lee Selby potential fight than he is about this opponent. And that also concerns me as well. It's no surprise he's not talking about the heavier punches at featherweight, i.e. maybe a Gary Russell or an Oscar Valdez, but he's talking more about, Lee Selby, a guy who probably has as much knockouts as probably a Paulie Malignaggi. So, all in all, Mike, I think it is a specifically tailored fighter, for him to rebound. He probably look good at, and seeing enough of Mijares, although he's 24, he's considerably younger. I just don't think he has, he has the ability to evade counter punches, Mike. And I think Frampton will probably eke out a wide unanimous decision. I think he's pretty durable as well. I think he's got a very good chin. I haven't seen him, hooking up in sort of 20-25 fights. So probably a wide unanimous decision, I'd go with.
And I think we're going to start to shut the show down on that. Well, one more question before we start the shutdown, Gus. Given what you think of Frampton, your assessment of him lately, and and kind of piggybacking off of Selby and how he looked in his last fight, who would you favor in a possible matchup between Selby and Frampton?
I would probably favor Lee Selby, Mike.
Right on. He right too. He right. He right. Yo. Yeah, I agree with his point about this man talking about quitting and shutting down, and I really think those two fights where people were saying Santa Cruz beat you, you know, that's some bogusness. You know, how the card that wide, and then Santa Cruz actually coming back the second fight and literally schooling you. I think he's questioning, hey, did I even win the first one? And that's getting to him. And then for him to say that to the media, ain't what you want to hear. Lee Selby can be Frampton and box on the back foot like that. I mean, Santa Cruz box on the back foot like that. So I like that pick. And he talking about making that fight. I think he going to make Selby a star over there if he do that.
I think we're going to start shutting the show down. On that note, going to go around the panel here, starting with you, Scorsese. For folks who want to talk the sweet science, for folks who want to talk boxing, let the folks know where they can find you.
As y'all heard, if you've been listening the whole time, I'm passionate about this sport. I will call out any injustice and I will stick to it. And if I believe it's the right thing, I will stick to it and stay with it for 2 years if I got to, if it lasts that long. If you the same way, or if you don't believe I'm this way, or you want to contest that I shouldn't be this way, hit me up on Twitter. At my low place, one word, and then my YouTube is low place, 2 words, #MLPL.
Gus, after having a brief hiatus, for folks who want to talk the sweet science, let the folks know where they can find you, or folks who want to talk music with you, let the folks know where they can hit you up.
Yeah, Mike, it was actually the card from Japan that sort of, reinvigorated me a little bit. Japan.
You're talking about the one this past weekend with Taguchi?
Yeah, Japan is always, to me, even over the last sort of 10, 15 years, has always been like a methadone program to me. Where I've got, where I've got sick of the addiction a little bit. You can't cut it off. You can't just go cold turkey. You need small little doses, and Japan generally gives me that. So yeah, that sort of brought me back, brought a little bit of excitement back to the division. But who knows, when I'll be next on the show, Mike? I don't know. But if
I need to see you. I need to see you when Manaka fights Neri now.
Yeah, I'll definitely be around for that, and if we can get the Kosei Tanaka and Taguchi unification. It looks like the talks have started on that one, and they're talking about November for that one. So yeah, that those 2 fights are probably the main 2 for me. But yeah, corruption in boxing, sort of all platforms. Yeah, nice conversing with you guys again. Always a pleasure.
Indeed. I'll go to you, Bo, and I'm going to be dropping something from Bo. Hint, hint. A little bit. For Bo from Truth and Facts. For folks who want to talk to sweet science and whatnot, let the folks know where they can find you, or follow the adventures of you and your kids.
Man, you can find me on Truth and Facts about boxing. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at truth_factbox1. My kids been getting on my nerve this summer, so you ain't gonna find them. You probably gonna see them on the floor knocked out or something. And you can also find me right here, and you can find me on Daniel's show, and also with my guys at the Movement. You can also find me at Ring IQ, and just wherever they talking boxing, man, yeah, that's where you'll find me. Whether it's good about the sport, whether it's bad about the sport, I'm always willing to talk about it, man.
Indeed. Daniel from the Inscriber, for folks who want to talk to sweet science, or check out you clap backing against folks on Twitter, or for folks who want to talk the NBA, specifically the Miami Heat, let the folks know where they can hit you up.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter, Ruckus99, and Like I said, right now I'm getting pretty angry at Twitter right now for very good reason. But also, like I said, do a show on Sundays with the good folks at 4boxnews.com. Join Francis. Like I said, we tend to do it on Mondays, sometimes Wednesdays, but definitely we're going to talk about these fights coming up, and it's going to be a pretty beautiful August. But I have to say this now: I will not review the main event of the circus. I will stop at the Gervonta Davis, but the circus will not be getting the review.
Jacob from the Inscriber, for folks who want to talk the sweet science and whatnot, let the folks know where they can hit you up.
As always, thanks for having me on the show, Mike. And shout out to Gus. I'm glad you're back, man. I'm glad you gave it another chance. I always like hearing what you got to say, and so it was nice to hear you again, man. And shout out to Miguel. I know she couldn't make the show, but our boxing sister that's out there always putting it down and previewing the fights, and I get to see her in person every now and then. But I could be found at JRATM23 on Twitter. You want to talk boxing, you want to talk movies, and shout out to Scorsese. I give him a lot of credit for keeping his channel going. Like he puts out a lot of content. I might not agree with everything, and I know we go back and forth, and it's all in good fun. But I like that he at least puts himself out there, and he sometimes he asks some interesting questions, and so shout out to him.
Indeed, for folks. And first of all, I want to say, everybody, don't quite jump off at the very end of the show, because I got a bit of news here regarding pound for pound. So don't jump off. I'll probably mention it publicly next week. For those who want to talk pound for pound boxing report, for folks who want to talk boxing or music or fitness stuff with me, you know what it is on Twitter, Brother JR, at Brother JR76, as I stated earlier in the show. When you'll find out all things regarding pound for pound boxing report, please go to the blog page, b4pboxingreport.wordpress.com. Check the right of the page. You'll find links to the channels, pages on YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, G+, as well as links to where to listen to us, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher Radio, Player FM, as well as Mixcloud. And be sure to send a review over to iTunes. I'd really appreciate it. Next week, we will do a recap of Broner, Garcia, of Charlo, Heiland, Big Baby Miller, Gerald Washington, Katie Taylor, and we will do a preview of Clarissa Shields fighting for her first world title next week in Detroit. Mauricio Herrera is also fighting Jesus Soto Carras next week. And Vasil Lomachenko is getting back into the ring against Miguel Herrera. Raymond Beltran is also on that card. Lightweight, who's been just knocking folks out lately. So we'll be talking about all those bouts, plus any news in the interim. So for Scorsese, for Gus, for Bo, for Jacob, for Daniel, episode 177 of Pound for Pound Boxing Report. For those listening to the podcast, the music you hear in the background, exclusive from the one and only Bo from Truth and Facts. So yeah, exclusive stuff from him. That's the music you're hearing right now. Episode 177, Pound for Pound Boxing Report. Everybody have a good evening. Good night.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Good night.